For your listening pleasure. Like I said, Reminiscence, the unofficial official musical ensemble for the Dave Taylor program with Super Duper producer Kevin and Taylor. We're talking a big game coming up for the lines right now. All fired up. And David, welcome to the program. What do you think about Reminiscence, my friend?
They're excellent. I used to play saxophone in the high school band.
Is that right? Now, were you a McDonald's All-American?
Do what now?
Were you a McDonald's All-American?
Hardly.
Well, what? Well, Dale is a McDonald's All-American in the band, so just to give it up.
I could hear that sax, man.
Oh, I tell you, that sax. He's the expert at extramarital sax, my friend.
Right. Well, Dave, they're a good, got a good variety there. Have to come hear them sometime.
Whoa! As a matter of fact, that gives you the opportunity. Talk about where you're going to play. That people can come listen.
Let's see, January 23rd, we're going to be at the Gilmore Center, right around the corner from Cape Fear Valley Hospital. We're there. It's Tuesday night, 8 to 10. It's free.
Wow.
We're with Fayetteville Parks and Recreation.
Well, that sounds great. I tell you, I haven't. I don't live in the immediate area, but maybe I could ride down there.
We'll love to have you. Good crowd there. They got hors d'oeuvres. Like I said, admission's free, and we play good dance music like what you've been hearing.
What street is that?
Purdue.
Okay, and that's kind of off the main drag.
Right around the corner from Cape Fear Valley Hospital.
Okay.
Love to have you.
Sure.
Well, fantastic.
Dave, that was some that football game, and I mean, it was epic, wasn't it?
Oh, as a matter of fact, it kind of reminded me that in that second overtime, I was kind of concerned when we got the ball first and got a field goal. I said, "Man, come on, man!"
Hey, look, Oklahoma had their chances.
They did,
and they had a really great chance in the overtime if they'd have called the right plays.
That's right.
That's
right. That's exactly right.
And I was a little concerned. I tell you what, but I felt when Blankenship kicked that 55-yard field goal at the end, that gave Georgia momentum.
In the end of the first half, that's right, down by 17, that's right.
And I think, if anything, it all worked out. I mean, Baker Mayfield was a little bit overconfident with his celebrations, don't you think?
Well, as I said before, and I said it before the game, as I said that they proved, and I looked at that last game they played, that where the people didn't shake his hand, and he was over there grabbing his crotch and giving some obscene gestures. And I said that he can be shaken up. And I said that, and that's what the dogs did. The dogs hit him a couple of times, bit him in his mouth, and he was shaken up. He didn't know what he was sacked. I mean, he was over on the sideline sulking. And so I said the Bulldogs, who are highly disciplined, I mean, Kirby Smart has got those boys fired up. They hit him in the mouth, and just as I said, he was rattled. They had a chance to win it. We kicked a field goal, but the dogs stopped them, and they stopped the entire offense. So that was outstanding.
We talked about this a couple of weeks ago, and I'm really surprised that Georgia didn't do the second half defense much earlier on Baker Mayfield and the Oklahoma offense, because if they had, I think that Georgia would have won a couple of touchdowns, don't you?
As a matter of fact, if you look at the second half there, one of Oklahoma's touchdowns was not done by the offense, but when Sony Michel fumbled and the guy ran it in for an intercept, but a fumble 6. And so, the dogs in the second half, that defense was demonstrative. I mean, and they were the old dogs. I think in the first half they kind of got, because Oklahoma, let's give them some credit, they did put in some new wrinkles they hadn't played before, but I think Alabama's going to try to do the same thing, and maybe the first half is going to do the same thing with the dogs trailing, but the dogs are going to come storming back. And when Sony Michel took that handoff in the second overtime, I mean, he looked like, when he went around the left end there, I mean, he looked like a liberal female on a date. She was untouched. I mean, so it was just absolutely fantastic. And went in for that 6. I mean, the stadium erupted. My friends, it's going to be bigger than the Super Bowl come Monday night, I anticipate.
Hey, and Dave, this Monday night, it is going to be the biggest college game, I think, of all time to date, and it's going to be like a Super Bowl.
Oh, it's going to be better than the Super Bowl. For you definitely have more attractive people. I mean, you're going to have the women in the audience who are much more attractive than any Super Bowl entertainment. I mean, you were talking about, and I'll have to give Alabama some credit. I mean, Alabama's right next to Georgia, and the map, for those of you who vote Democrat, that's, where you have a representation of all 50 states. But the Georgia women, of course, but as you and I both know, but then, of course, Alabama has got some stone cold doll babies, too.
They've got some Southern belles.
Oh.
And I'm going to go out on a limb on this. I'm going to say Georgia's going to win this game by 2 touchdowns.
That's not going out on a limb. This morning on Fox News, in fact, Lou Holtz, the coach of Notre Dame, said that he anticipates that the Georgia Bulldogs will win. And he said comfortably, too. So, I'm always for the dogs. I mean, there's no doubt about that. But he said this morning, Lou Holtz on Fox News, that he believes that Georgia's going to win. And a lot of other folks are saying the same thing, because that defense and also that quarterback, who's going to be a preseason Heisman favorite, Jake Fromm, who's literally a first-year freshman. He was at Warner Robins High School last academic year. So, Fromm be checked to a run. Now, when he saw that, I mean, that guy is acting, like a pro who that's a good pro, not one of these clowns who are like 0-16 and stuff, but he checked to the line. I mean, Jake Fromm is going to be a preseason Heisman favorite going into next year.
And, hey, how about Chubb? I'm going to predict that Chubb's going to run for over 100 yards.
Oh, that's going out on a limb. I mean, Chuck, Nick Chubb.
He's going to break it. Look, he broke 2 in the Oklahoma game. Of course, their defense is not what Alabama is.
That's right.
But he's going to break at least 1. He's going to get a lot of carries. If it's not 100, it's going to be 85 or something like that.
No, I agree with you. I think that not only Nick Chubb's going to go over 100, I think that Sony Michel's going to go over 100, and I'm thinking that even Swift is going to get close. He's going to break a run for about 50 or 60, and also Vander Holyfield's kid is going to go for about 50 or 60. I think the dogs, just like they did against Oklahoma, going to rush over about 300 yards, even against the Tide.
Yeah. Hey, the band, when was that? The fellow from the band was telling me. When is that coming up?
The next time they're going to play?
Yeah.
January 23rd.
Oh, January 23rd.
Yeah, Tuesday night, Gilmore Center.
Okay. 8 to 10. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, great talking to you, and you too, Dave, and talk to you next week, and
yes,
we'll be talking Dogs victory.
We'll be talking dog victory all the way, my friend. So go, you hairy dogs.
All right.
Appreciate it. Have a great weekend, my friend.
Have a good one. Bye.
Thank you. And I tell you what, because this year has been so fantastic. Let's turn now to the economics. Let's go to economics right now. The Dow, the stock market closed above 25,000 yesterday. That's yesterday. That's Friday. For those of you who vote Democrat, moving the fastest time between 1,000-point benchmarks than at any time in the history of the stock market. Over 25,000 yesterday by a great distance. So it wasn't just broke at 25,001. I believe it was up almost over 200 points yesterday, and it's continuing. Now, the overall unemployment rate in America is 4.1%. It was 4.7% not that long ago, and now it's down to 4.1%. And this is a legitimate folks going back to work to good-paying jobs. Now, for those who are shade of tan, the unemployment rate of 6.8% is the lowest that figure has been since records were kept. Let me say that again for those of you out there who still have those faded, pictures of, what was that guy who was the president before? That dark-skinned guy who may have been on Africa. Anywho, you got those faded pictures on the wall, and you've got the candles in front of it. But 6.8% is the lowest that figure has been as far as those who are shade of tan since those figures were kept. Consumer confidence is at a 17-year high. And for those of you who went anywhere on Christmas or New Year's, more people traveling for Christmas by some accounts ever. Why? Because Americans who are here legally, and even those who are here illegal as migrants, are welcoming the robust Trump architected economy. And that's right. For those of you who went, I know I went traveling over the road for Christmas, and you can see there are more people there because folks are feeling more confident. They have more money in their pockets. Companies are coming out there and doing all sorts of things. So what are the specifics? The tax bill signed into law by President Donald John Trump before Christmas, the bill has catapulted multiple economies with economic euphoria, sending out $1,000, $2,000, even $3,000 bonuses to their employees who were shocked. That's right, they never anticipated seeing this. $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 bonuses. And in some of those cases, those bonuses were as much as their paychecks. And that's unexpected, but it happened within hours of the tax bill being signed. The bill also ends the individual mandate tax, and it is a tax, on tax filers for choosing not to have health care. That's right. So if you choose not to have health care, you're not going to have to pay a fine or a tax for that. This is America, after all. So if you want tax or you want health care, great. But if you don't, you're not having to pay a penalty for it. And it also opens up for exploration the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge, or ANWR. So we're talking about unlimited resources, making America energy dependent. And this is just the first year, ladies and gentlemen. This is just 12 months. The stock market in 2018 is already over 25,000, the shortest time period between 1,000-point benchmarks in the history of the stock market. Folks are hiring. And remember, you always heard about the concept of, we're going to hire more people after the first of the year. Well, this started as soon as President Trump signed the tax bill, and companies, my gosh, AT&T, I believe, was the first. Federal Express is investing millions. You look at Comcast, Wells Fargo, at raising minimum wage to 15, doing it the legitimate way with income coming in so that you're not costing jobs. This is absolutely astonishing. There's one Western state, a bunch of flaming liberals. They raised the minimum wage arbitrarily because people were marching in the streets and not making hamburgers because they wanted to make more money. After about 6 months, and I forget the state, but after about 6 months, they had to lower it again because it wasn't working. The people who were making the new minimum wage of 15, they were telling employers, look, boss, appreciate you, but don't give me too many hours because I still need to go down and get my food stamps. That's right. They still said they need to go down and get their food stamps. So now folks are getting major raises legitimately, and they are happy, and now looking forward to bonuses, getting spoiled because they can go to work now. They work and get all of this. This is thanks to President Donald John Trump. The gross domestic product, or GDP. Now, I know of those who vote Democrat, you're not used to what that is, but I'm sure you know where the, Negro Lives Matter meeting is. But for those of you who don't understand what GDP, that's a gross domestic product. Under the previous guy, gosh, what was that guy's name? I can see his face right now. He doesn't look like me or my family. But anywho, may have been born in Africa, and it never got over 2%. Never got over 2% per quarter when he was in office. And now, with President Donald J. Trump, it's over 3%, just after 3.3% as far as 3 consecutive quarters already. And there are predictions it could go up to 4%. Ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who listen to liberals and don't understand why, except that you feel sorry for them, and like I said, you may have been kicked out of the original place because you voted for Republicans, but we're going to make America great again. The Democrats are saying that, my gosh, that's going to create a $1.2 trillion expansion of the deficit. But ladies and gentlemen, we're having growth at 3%. Or even 2.5%, which never happened under the previous administration. If you look at growth of 3%, then that in itself is going to cause an expansion of the economy to the extent that it's going to not allow the